I'm interested to present data, and the problem with data is it never lies. You have to look at the data, whatever I'm going to present over here, and you may think that I'm not very optimistic about it, but anyway, whatever it is, I would like to show you. There are 6 aspects of my presentation. First is the upstream, then refineries and downstream oil industry. The graph on the left shows that whatever our local oil production, crude oil production was in the last 10, 12 years. As you can see that it started from around 70,000 barrel per day. It went up to 94,000 barrel per day in 2012. And 2014, it was 94,000 barrel per day. Like any oil field or any hydrocarbon field, there's a theory which is called Herbert peak theory, that any field which comes into being, it peaks and then it started declining. So we have reached our peak of local oil production, crude oil production in 2015, and after that there is a slide. There was a stability, and in the last 3 years you can see it is going down and down, and we are at 73,000 barrel per day. That was year 22-23. Same is the case with the gas. You can see that we have reached 4.3 BCF per day production in 2012, and after that there was a stability of around 4 billion BCF, but it is going down continuously. So, and now at the year 21-22, it was about 3.3 BCF per day. And this slide shows the data of last fiscal year. And after about 10-12 years, we have gone down below 73,000 barrel per day of local oil production. And so it is very clear that either the fields which were producing oil, they are depleting, and they are depleting at a very fast rate. And the new fields are not coming to replenish the production which we were having earlier. That is one. And secondly, the same, there are 4 big major players which are producing oil. 90% oil is produced by 4 companies, namely OGDCL, UEP, MOL, and PPL. 90% crude oil is being produced by those companies. And if you look at the other slide, it shows that 80% of the wells are drilled in the middle and lower Indus Basin. And the drilling density per 1,000 square kilometer is around over 5.4. And in Balochistan, this density is 0.22. And same as in the other areas. So 80% wells are drilled in Sindh, 16% in Potwar and Kohat region, and around 4% in the next other areas. The overall drilling density is around 1.42 per 1,000 square kilometer, which is quite low. Next, please. Now, this slide I copied from OGRA's projection for the next 10 years oil in gas requirement. As you can see from this slide that, the local gas availability is decreasing at a very rapid rate. And in 2015, the government of Pakistan arranged two LNG terminals were put up. And, we are getting about 1,100 MMCF gas per day from those terminals. But the crocodile is opening its mouth. If, as Dr. Musaddiq has said, that if TAPI or IP or LNG terminals are not put up, the gas availability will be 50% of the demand after 10 years. So that is the projection which was made by OGRA, and one of the best way to overcome this is to increase our local production of gas. As was mentioned by Senator Musaddiq, that tight gas policy was issued in February this year, and there are certain incentives given, but there are certain things which we have to do, and we have to do it very quickly so that the tight gas is available. The conservative estimates show that around 70 trillion cubic feet minimum or 100 trillion cubic feet of tight gas is available. It is easier, the sooner we start, better it is. And, we can have about 500-600 MMCF per day if we start working on it, so that we can reduce the availability of local gas. Now, what are the constraints which upstream sector has faced in the last couple of years, 2-3 years? The key challenge was that our selling price was, by the gas companies was very low as compared to the price determined by OGRA. It was almost 1/3 of the price if the OGRA, for example, determined a price of 3,000 rupees. And the upstream companies were getting, gas companies were selling it to the consumer at 1,000 rupees per MMCF. And obviously, they were unable to pay to their producer the amount it was due to them. And that started a vicious circle. The upstream companies were not getting their due share, so they were unable to invest into the new fields or the new blocks which were coming, being offered by the government of Pakistan. So it just started. And the second problem which, upstream companies faced, which were, be it local or the foreigner, their dividends, repatriation of dividend was a major issue up till, as I understand, I, listened to a speech by Deputy Governor, State Bank, Dr. Nayat, in which he said that, the repatriation till 2022, still some portion is left. So, 18-month dividends, which has to be, we have to work on it so that the upstream company has the sufficient resources to invest. This is a very good indicator that last year about 18 wells or blocks were offered for auction, and there were bids for only 3 blocks. What does it tell us? Number one, either these blocks are offered and re-offered, and the companies are very well aware that the potential of success there is quite low. Or second is that they don't have money to invest in those blocks. There's no other way. So in order to increase, I was discussing one of my friends, Mr. Asrar, was sitting over here yesterday at Karachi airport. And the conclusion is that local hydrocarbon, be it coal, be it gas, or be it oil, it will always be much, much, much cheaper than the imported hydrocarbon. There is no rocket science about it. So our focus should be to increase our local hydrocarbon, be it the old field, aging field. We have to develop policies for the aging. There have been recommendations by OICCI team, our oil producing companies, to the government of Pakistan to make a special policy for the aging field. More gas we get or more oil we get from the aging field, it will be better for us. It will be much, much cheaper than the imported LNG which we are getting. Number one. Number two, when a field, a lease is expired, certain, it is the rentals are increased and the other values are increased. We lose dollars to earn pennies. We have to make, I'm sure, I hope that Dr. Musaddiq didn't have to go to PM meeting. What we need a fundamental change in our approach. Everybody who is working, they are trying to have their own KPIs, working on those KPIs to improve things without looking at the bigger picture that what we are losing at the end of the day. So the few pennies earned from the extra charges on the renewal of lease or rentals increase or whatever it is, at the end, what we are losing in, importing billions of dollars of LNG or oil, it's not worth it. I mean, for me, it is very sad that we have got only, our production has gone down to below 70,000 barrel per day. And there are other recommendations, but I have to move on because Saad is asking me to, finish in time. Next slide, please. Yeah. This is our refinery production, this 5 years refinery production. Now, Adil Saab is sitting here and he'll be part of next panel. All I can tell you that the nameplate capacity of our local refineries are about 19.5 million metric ton. But never in our history we have processed more than 12.7 million metric ton in a year. For simple reason, there is one constraint of the other. Either there is, glut of furnace oil or glut of HSD. Motor gasoline is the only product we don't have glut, because our local production is limited and our demand is very high. It's about 20,000 metric ton per day demand. So refinery has taken a bitter pill. They have started, built up infrastructure, rented infrastructure, and they are exporting furnace oil. The demand of furnace oil locally is less than 1 million ton this year. So what we need to do is to make sure that our refineries operate at the optimum level, so that our import bill, which was Dr. Musaddiq was talking about, we can't afford $15 to $20 million import bill. It can only be reduced by having more and more production from our local refineries. Next, please. These are petroleum product sales, and again you can see a roller coaster over there. 2019-20 was COVID, and then there were 2 years of recovery, and after that, we are again in a slide. We have lost 25% market in 2022-23, and this year, 10 months, again we are losing about 8% of the total market. What are the reasons? I mean, obviously, petroleum product sales are linked with our GDP growth, and when the GDP growth is 0.23%, we don't expect market to grow. But at the same time, industrial activities are, at a lower side, large-scale manufacturing, everything. But the biggest curse on us is the movement of product from our western borders. Unabated movement of product from the western borders. And we have done whatever we could, to highlight this issue to every forum possible, the highest forum in Pakistan. We have started seeing some results in this month. So, we are seeing some growth in our gas oil sale. One thing is for certain, the number of motorcycle, number of cars available in this country, our baseline of motor gasoline consumption is 20,000 metric ton per day. Now, our local refineries who are producing about 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 metric ton per day, sometimes they struggle to sell their own product. A product which is short 4.5 to 5 million ton is being imported every year. And local refineries are producing 2.5 million ton. Still they struggle. I mean, this is something which baffles me, that why this happens to us. Why people prefer to, import and sell that product instead of, taking local product, which is readily available at notice of ours, but still it is going on. Next slide, please. I'm trying to rush through my, you can see that some of you may ask, why we had, 21-22, both motor gasoline and HSD were sold around 9 million ton. Now, HSD was, the demand in this country was not 9 million ton. It was only because of one reason, the subsidy. The subsidy which we offered for 59 days, which cost us about 243 billion rupees in subsidy, that resulted in consumption of gas oil or HSD 9 million ton in the year. So much so, the power plants, after subsidy, gas oil was cheaper than the furnace oil. The power plants were burning, and in the May, I remember in May 2022, we sold highest tonnage of HSD, which was 917,000 metric ton in a single month of May 2022, just because of subsidy. And 243 billion subsidy was given by the government of Pakistan to this. Next slide, please. We have got 3 ports in Pakistan. One is KPT, the oldest port, which was established before our independence. Then Fortco, which came into being in 1990s, late 1990s, and Byco SBM. KPT claim they have got capacity of to handle 24 million metric ton. I have not seen them operating over 12 million ton. I'm talking about petroleum product and 1 million ton of non-POL product. So they are operating at less than 50% of their capacity. The condition of peers are such that every week, and mind me, I'm not, this is truth, nothing but truth. Every week, one of the peer goes on maintenance. Every week. Either it is 1 or 2 or 3. Some vessels, some companies who are sitting here, I would not name them, they will not berth their vessel on a certain pier because it is so dangerous, according HSC. We need to work on these piers. I know it is very difficult for government to make investment of 150 million or $200 million over there, but at the same time, if they don't have the money, they have to go for public-private partnership to make our piers safe for us. God forbid if there is a spillage in the sea, what will happen and what will be the consequences, and what we are talking about over HSE over here. And same is the condition with Fortco. The capacity claims are 9 million metric ton, but it was only achieved 8.1 million ton in 1 year when the furnace oil import was 2.1 million ton. So the port capacity, nameplate capacity, which they claim is X number. Practically, at 50% or 60% capacity, industry is paying through their nose millions of dollars in damages because of the inefficiencies of the port. So something has to be done about it. Now, in the downstream sector, I will take only 2 minutes and my time is up, but these recommendations are very important. There are 2 very serious issues which industry is facing. Number 1 is the turnover tax. Last calculation, before this price change, which we made, that our margin, OMC margin for any oil marketing company is 7 rupees 87 paisa per liter. Now the turnover tax, which was increased, and Waqar is sitting here, after great efforts, we were able to get it reduced from 0.75 to 0.5% here. We are losing 1 rupees 20 paisa per liter in turnover tax. And if, God forbid, any company make loss, previously it was allowed that you can adjust your loss up to 5 years. Now they have reduced the period to 3 years. And we have met successive chairman FBR just to find out why you reduced this period from 5 years to 3 years. And we did not get any answers from them that why they reduce. So we are losing 1 rupees 20 paisa per liter over there in turnover tax. Similarly, GST was abolished on petroleum product in February 22. And all the industry which works, whenever they buy something, they pay GST. Now they cannot adjust their GST. Now the GST claims, outstanding GST claims have exceeded 65 billion rupees as of last month, which means to finance 65 billion at the current borrowing rate is about 1 rupees 30 paisa, 25 paisa per liter. So practically, whatever margin we are getting, 30% of margin are being, washed away in these two heads. Secondly, there is a problem, big problem of illegal retail outlets in this country. There are about 2,500 retail outlets. I'm not talking about Dabba station, which we so-called called that. There is a drum and there is a bottle in which they're selling. These are outlets which were abandoned by the oil marketing companies because of the certain violations. But no, the explosive and the other departments, the deputy commissioner, they are not playing their role, and these outlets are operative, and they are being run on the smuggled product, as I mentioned earlier, diluted product, which is damaging our environment, damaging the vehicle, the poor person who is, getting fuel from those outlets. He doesn't realize how much damage he is doing to his car. The third point, and I would like to, Chairman Ogra is sitting here, that we have requested time and again that those AMCs who are operating before the formulation or Ogra, their license should be issued once for all for a period of 30 years. These are our recommendation. And infrastructure cess, my last point before I finish my presentation. Sindh government and Balochistan government imposed 1.25% cess on petroleum products, on all the companies, refineries, and Ministry of Petroleum, took up this issue. Punjab Revenue Authority, KPK Revenue Authority abolished it, but Sindh and Punjab are still, charging it. And we are getting our product cleared by giving a piece of paper or undertaking that in case Supreme Court decides this case, we will pay. The amount has gone up to over $400 million. If the cases are decided against the industry, I don't think anyone in the industry has the capacity to pay that kind of. So this provincial taxes on regulated product issue has to be resolved once for all, so that we can operate with the peace of mind. And last, this is not part of my presentation, but I think the cases which are pending in the courts of different companies in the high courts or other, I think it is about time that we put up a proposal to our legislator to set up special courts, hydrocarbon courts, to settle the issues of hydrocarbon, where judges are being trained in the subject so that they can decide in a period of 90 days to 180 days max, they can decide the cases. Instead, a case which is going on for years and years, and someone take a stay, that stay stays there forever. And thank you very much. I wanted to, I always end my presentation on poetry, and today I chose a verse from great Ahmad Fraz, and he said that. शिकवाए जुल्मत शब से तो कहीं बेहतर था, शिकवाए जुल्मत शब से तो कहीं बेहतर था, अपने हिस्से की कोई शम्मा जलाते जाते। तो ये एक एफर्ट है OICCI की, शेल की, जो पार्टनर हैं हमारे, हम सब की एक एफर्ट है कि जो अंधेरा है, जो उसको कम करने के लिए हम रोशनी जलाएं, अपनी तजावीज़ आपको दे दें, अमल करें, हो ना हो, लेकिन बहरहाल एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जब अपनी कब्र में लेटेंगे, ये तो कह सकते हैं ना अल्लाह से कि हमने अपने हिस्से का काम किया था।